There are several security guidelines to be taken into account when developing our applications. The most important ones are described in the Open Web Application Security Project, the foundation that manages this project, which is an open community that defines and provides information and tools for the development and verification of computer systems from a security perspective. The foundation has several projects, and among the most renowned and relevant ones is OWASP Top 10, a document that addresses the most critical security risks to web and mobile applications. One of the project items discusses broken authentication, highlighting the importance of having a good authentication factor. GeneXus offers a module called GeneXus Access Manager, the GAM, which automatically handles authentication. In addition to this task, the GAM allows dealing with authorization concerns, such as restricting access to different parts of the application, depending on the roles or permissions of each user. The GAM also provides several objects to manage all the security issues related to a web or mobile application. For example, objects to add users, assign roles, grant permissions, and so on. Security controls are automatically enabled by configuring the Enable Integrated Security property that can be found in the Preferences window by selecting the active version of our KB. By changing the property to True, the components of the GeneXus Access Manager will be imported into our KB. Below the root module, we'll find several objects that provide the GAM functions. Once security is enabled, the security level can be selected using the Integrated Security Level property that can be found at the KB version or object level. The default value of this property is Authentication. Some options for the security level of our application are as follows. None, i.e. no security mechanism is applied. Authentication, where the user only needs to be logged in to access. And Authorization, where the user not only needs to be logged in, but also have the necessary permissions to access each part of the application. Once the security and level type that our application will use have been applied, we need to rebuild all our KB in order to create the database that the GAM will use. After enabling security, when running our application, a login screen will be displayed for both the web and smart devices part. Since we haven't configured users yet, we can use a local user with the following credentials. User, admin and password, admin123. To access the GAM administration console, we must access the GAM Home panel. This panel is GAM's main backend object, where we can configure the users and permissions of our application. Let's see a small demo. In our example, we want different users to view our back-office web application depending on their roles. If they authenticate, depending on their roles, they can see certain options. Now we'll apply the security module to our travel agency KB to demonstrate this. To do so, first we select the active version of the KB. Next, we change the Enable Integrated Security property to True. A screen will be displayed requesting permission to import components for managing the GAM module, both for our web application and for smart devices. Likewise, we can choose the way to update these objects, either automatically, or by asking us, or to never update them. We select Yes, and the objects will be imported into the GAM example and GAM library folders below root module. At a general level, we'll change the security level to None so that any user can view our application. Then in the version properties, we change a property called Integrated Security Level. After that, we can change the same property at the object level. For example, in the attraction transaction, we change Integrated Security Level to Authorization so that only authorized users can access it. Remember that once GAM is applied, we need to rebuild the KB. This will prompt us to create the GAM database. Once this is done, we'll find a new data store specifically for GAM. We run the GAM Home panel and go to the GAM backend, which is its administration console, to be able to add our users and give them permissions through their assigned roles. We log in using the default user, admin, and its password, admin123, keeping in mind that we can change it later. We open the administration console, go to Roles, and add the Attraction Manager role that will have permissions to insert, update, or delete an attraction. To do this, we click on the Add option, enter the name, and specify the security policy. For now, it's enough to leave the default option. We confirm. Then we access our role and select More Options, Permissions. In this screen, we select the travel agency application and the Add option. In the following screen, the permissions that we can apply to this object are displayed. We select Attraction Full Control, since this role will be able to perform all these tasks. We click on Add Selected and save. In this way, we've configured our role. Now we need to add a user to have this role assigned to him or her. To do so, we go to the Users option and to the New User option. We'll see that some fields have an asterisk, which indicates that they're mandatory. We add the user Dorian with an email and a password, and add his security policy. We confirm, access the newly created user Dorian, and assign him a role. We add a role, indicate that it's Attraction Manager, and add it with Add Selected. Finally, we go back and see that the user already has this new role assigned. Now let's go to our back office application again, where we manage a travel agency. When we run the application, from the Launchpad, we select the attraction transaction. It'll ask for the access credentials, so we log in with the user Dorian and access without problems. With the required permissions, we can also enter, update, or delete these attractions. If we go to the airport transaction and set authorization as security, just like we did with attraction, and try to enter airport from the Launchpad, we'll be told that we're not authorized, since we only gave permissions to access the attractions. We've seen how GeneXus allows managing application authentication and authorization. So far, we've only used local user authentication, but we can use other types of authentication, such as Facebook, Twitter, Google, or some other external service. Note that the current version of GeneXus can authenticate with any provider that uses OAuth 2.0. OAuth is a standard for granting access to websites or applications from another website, but without granting passwords. One of its advantages is that it verifies the user's identity and issues a token for the application to grant access, which makes our application authentication much more secure. To learn more about the GeneXus Access Manager, visit our wiki.